A report by the British newspaper Daily Mail revealed that Swedish scientists were able to invent the world's first living computer made from human brain tissue. The newspaper quoted those in charge of the project as saying, "This supercomputer could succeed in solving the energy crisis that the world is facing or that some countries are suffering from." The newspaper report stated that the innovative device consists of 16 organic parts or blocks of brain cells that were grown in the laboratory and that send information to each other. He added that these parts work very similar to a traditional computer chip, as they send and receive signals through their neurons that work like circuits. But what makes them special is that a living machine uses less energy, because living neurons can use 1,000,000 times less power than current digital processors currently in use. He continued, "When comparing the new device to the best computers in the world, scientists found that it has the same speed and 1,000 times more memory, and that it is superior to the human brain, which uses between 10 and 20 watts, compared to a computer that uses 21 megawatts." According to the report, the living machine was developed by scientists at Final Sparks, which focuses on finding solutions with biological neural networks. It quoted Dr. Fred Jordan, co-CEO of Final Spark, a startup focused on finding solutions for biological neural networks, as saying, "This idea is common in science fiction, but there hasn't been a great deal of real research on it." He added that the organoids that were used in developing the device are small, self-organizing, three-dimensional tissue cultures made from stem cells. Such cultures can be designed to replicate much of the complexity of an organ, or to express selected aspects of it, like producing only certain types of cells. Scientists take stem cells and grow them for about a month until they form features such as neurons. Final Spark's tiny brains were built from an estimated 10,000 live neurons, about 0.5 millimeters in diameter. Organoids are also trained with doses of dopamine, and when they perform tasks correctly, they receive an influx of the chemical as a reward. According to the report, scientists administer dopamine by exposing a specific area of the brain to light, similar to how it is released in the human brain when a specific area is activated. Surrounding the small brains are 8 electrodes that measure activity in the organs. Researchers can send a current through the electrode to influence the neuron. These electrodes perform a dual role, stimulating the organs and recording the data they process. The organisms are also placed in an incubator that acts as a mini plumbing system for small amounts of fluid, providing nutrients to the cells and providing the nutrients needed to keep them alive. The incubator maintains organisms at body temperature and automates the flow and maintenance of cellular media, providing a stable environment free of bacteria and viruses. According to the British newspaper, the living cells in the living computer live and die within 100 days and are assembled in a three-dimensional organic structure. But they resemble those found in real human brains and have similar electrical activity. The scientists behind the project explained, "The neurons in your brain will live for about 80 years, and you will have the same neurons when they die as they were at birth. We're not as good as nature at keeping them alive, so they only live for 100 days. Scientists only grow new organisms to replace dead organisms." The report stated that the team recently launched Brain Computer as an online platform that enables global researchers to conduct remote experiments on biological neurons in the laboratory. 30 universities have already expressed interest in using the platform. Jordan described the living computer as wetware because, like actual human brains, it falls somewhere in between computers. That is, chips that process information, software, and programs that run on devices, according to the newspaper. Jordan said, "We call it wetware. I don't know who invented the word, but the brain is located between software and hardware." He added, "In computers there is a clear separation where you run different programs on the same device, but in our brain, in order to learn anything, you have to change the devices that actually make the neural connections, so we need a new word, and the word wet tools." It makes sense because cells need a moist environment to survive. It is known that the world is facing an energy crisis due to fuel shortages, supply chain disruptions, geopolitical tensions, and the transition to renewable energy, not to mention the rise of artificial intelligence, which is expected to use 29.3 terawatt-hours annually. 1 terawatt equals 1 trillion watts. The report said that laboratories and universities around the world are already contacting Final Sparks to test the devices. Later this month, Jordan will participate in the world's first conference on biological computing, which will be held in Vienna with participants from Australia and the United States. And he said, since publishing his findings, the phone has not stopped ringing. A lot of people are calling to offer me money.